Okay, let's see your penis.
Incredible.
Welcome everyone to another There Will Be There Will Be Duds. There's a
The bloods will be there.
Great visual gag.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good.
for our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's secondary podcast. It's not really like
Yeah,
it's not
Our
that.
faces are the money makers.
yeah. I am your co-host J Spot Jack Cheese or TJ, and joining me as usual.
I am your other co-host Nick, or Dr._Funk PhD.
And I'm Travis, aka the Super General.
I'm another co-host, and I'm Tommy, and I'm also Moose from the game. Those are the things that I am.
I'm pretty jealous of your Tommy hat. Tommy.
Yeah, my mom found it at the mall one day years ago and thought it was funny, so she bought it for me.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
This
It's my
is
most
my
prized
hat.
possession.
It was made for me.
Yeah, it was literally made for Tommy.
Is it Tommy Hilfiger or is it just like a random?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Yeah,
Tommy.
looks like-
Oh,
that's
okay.
definitely the font. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should get a TJ Maxx hat then or something.
Yeah.
Okay, well this
to
week
the max.
Yeah. This week we watched a movie. But before we get into that, Moose had a show he wanted to talk about.
Yes.
And I'm actually interested in hearing about this because it piqued my interest.
Oh, awesome. So, so this week I watched the Blood of Zeus on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's like a Netflix original anime is how they've billed it.
Yeah.
And it I haven't seen Castlevania, but I'm told that it has the same kind of art style. I think
It does look a lot like
Yeah.
Castlevania.
a South Korean studio did the animation
Oh
for
yeah,
it,
totally.
but it's in English, and it's all about like Greek gods and shit. So the premise is that there's all these myths and legends that have been told and retold about gods and giants and heroes, and this is one of those legends that was kind of lost to time, and now it's being retold.
Okay.
And so there's this young man named Heron, like the bird, and he and his mom are kind of like outcasts living on the outskirts of town. He was born out of wedlock. He's a his mom's a hoe. People call her that and shit. Nobody likes them. They're
And
you get the
I can
idea.
guess who his dad is.
Yep. That's what? That's exactly it. Because turns out, oh no, like his dad is Zeus, the fucking king of gods. Holy shit! I know. He has the blood of Zeus running through his veins. Anyway, so like, there's these. It's revolved around the conflict between the gods and the giants that happened like right after they defeated the Titans. Titans are like, here are these giants, and then they defeated them. And so the idea is that like one of these giants' corpses washed ashore, and these dudes started like hanging out with it and like eating its flesh and shit, and they became demons. With like these
Sure. Okay.
funky looking appearance and like some like special powers and shit. And so the main like antagonist is the head of the demons, whose name is Seraphim, as in the highest choir of angels in Jewish mythology, which I thought was kind of out of place. Made me wonder. So like there are a few things throughout the season that made me go, wait, what? Like, is this plausible? I'm confused. But overall, it's a great story. It's exciting.
Cool.
Every single frame is a work of art. It's just so beautiful. And Nick's smiling because of the YouTube channel Every Frame of Painting.
I was like,
And
every frame's a work of art.
yeah. I thought it through, so I wouldn't say it, but now I've said it. But yeah, so eventually the gods get involved, and so like Heron, and his buddies, and Seraphim and his demon buddies kind of fight this like proxy war, among themselves. That the gods are like fighting each other over something, and well, I guess you find this out pretty early. It's Hera, Zeus's wife, who's upset that she fucked Heron's mom, or that Zeus fucked Heron's mom, and so it's like a Hera and her crew versus Zeus and his crew, and Hera's got the demon guy, and Zeus has got Heron, and then they have these like awesome fucking action sequences and shit. It's incredible. A lot of face stabbing. Every episode, you see a sword go through someone's face. It's like the signature move of like every fucking character. I got a dagger. It's going in someone's face by the end of the episode. Anyway, so that's like
sweet.
enough synopsis shit. But like, there are some things, like I said, that I'm just kind of like, what? And I've read a couple reviews, and everybody's like, oh, this is so awesome. It's great. There's nothing bad about it. But I'm watching it like, okay, for example, halfway through the season, I guess they decided that Heron needs like a crew. So they just like randomly introduce these characters that are like just oh, I guess I'll help Heron for some reason. And it's extremely like out of nowhere and like surprising, and then like it's I wanted to fast forward every time that those characters were there, because it felt like they were trying to be comic relief, but we have no idea why they're there. They have a really flimsy motivation thing. Yeah, so there are just a few things that I think is funky, but but not enough to where I didn't enjoy it. Like, I'll definitely watch it again. One thing that I hate though is they do that thing that every fucking TV show does, which is you've wrapped up the season, you finish your story, and then the very last scene you tee it up for season 2. And I'm like, bitch, like this was a good story, except for the parts that sucked, and now you're just fucking introducing a new bad guy all of a sudden. Oh, guess we're gonna see more of him next season. Fuck you. Just tell the story and let it speak for itself. I hate it so much.
It has to be a cinematic universe now.
God, and it also kind of fucks up the premise too, right? Like, this is a myth that was told. This is the story, and it was lost to time, and now we're telling it to you again. Not there. This is an entire fucking anthology of myths that's sort of centered on this one guy who has random friends that nobody cares about, and it just breaks it for me. It breaks it.
I get that. Like, so like, I'm more okay with that if it's a show like Breaking Bad, where it's kind of like the story is it's not meant to be like a single season thing. Like, it makes sense that it's like breaks it up like that. But from how that one sounds, it sounds like it's pretty much a complete story in itself.
Yeah.
Like, it could just be the one season, and like, if that was it, it would make sense.
And like, where the fuck do they go from here? They already had like a battle with like half the gods, and then Heron and his buddies versus the other half of the gods and the goddamn motherfucking giants. Like, where are you gonna go from here? Where the fuck can you go
Titans?
from here?
Yeah.
The Titans, I guess. I don't fucking know. And I guess spoiler alert, here we go. That last fucking scene, the very last scene, the MCU after credits is, basically. So so it's fucking Hades talking to the main demon dude, saying, "Hey, work for me now, because now I'm gonna be the bad guy of next season." And it's like, dude, like, it was so cool that you weren't one of those fucking like Disney shit that interprets Greek mythology as Hades is the devil and therefore the bad guy.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
And I was like, it's so cool that like it's actually like a conflict between Zeus and Hera, because that happens in Greek mythology. Hera is a jealous wife. And like it's neat to base the whole story, the story and the conflict on that. And then all of a sudden, hi, I'm Hades. You didn't see me all season. Also, I'm a bad guy now, and get ready for season 2.
Dang. I was really. Yeah, I was wondering if you're gonna say Hades, because I have like the same feeling, like, because he's not. I mean, all the gods are pretty shitty when you think about it.
Yeah,
but
and
all
rapey,
the gods are pretty
really
terrible.
Rapey.
Yeah, but in the relative to the other gods, Hades is like, yeah, he's neutral if anything. But yeah, because he's the god of the underworld.
And you know what? And you know what? During the whole fucking conflict, he was neutral. They talked about him. They never showed him. They're like, "Oh, what's Hades doing all this?" "Oh, he's neutral. He's just chilling, doing his job, processing dead souls and shit." And then they just fucking 180 at the very end. It's like, it's almost like, oh no, I can't say that. I was gonna say it's almost as if they just like decided at the end, oh fuck, we need a season 2. We just got money for season 2. Let's put this scene in there. But it's not because like the demon's like main weapon is a bident, like a trident but with 2, and that's like Hades' like signature weapon. And so the whole season, if you're familiar with Greek mythology, you're like, why the fuck does he have? Oh yeah. Why the fuck does he have Hades' bident? But then you're like, I don't know. Maybe he, got it from. Maybe during the war between the gods, Hades left it in the fucking giant that he stabbed, and that's where he got it from. But like, apparently he was fucking pulling the strings all along, and it's like, dude, that just completely undercuts the entire story. If Hades was pulling the strings, you showed us the strings. Hera was pulling Seraphim's strings. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. But everybody's like, this is such a great thing. And I agree. It's great. It's great. But there are some things that just really suck about it.
There has to be some sort of like the way that they do these like in-house Netflix shows. I feel like there's always like a balance between allowing whoever is doing it the creative freedom to do what they want, and then like there's this other thing underneath it that's just like, okay, but this needs to eventually tie into something else or like another season. Like, I don't know, there's got to be some sort of like push-pull relationship between like the directors or like the creative people and then like the suits that are like, okay, cool, that's cool. Okay, where's season 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how much of it is that, but
I get that, because like nobody's talking about Tiger King anymore. It was just one season, and now it's just an event that happened. But like Blood of Zeus, we're going to be talking about it next year when season 2 comes out.
Yeah.
And then they got what's his face, Joel McHale, to like interview the dudes. That was weird.
Oh yeah, weird. I didn't watch that because ahead of time I was like, and that was like right in the height of it. I was still like, that seems like a bad idea. So
to do the interview thing.
From that one. Yeah, it just seems weird, and I knew I was gonna feel like awkward the whole time.
It was awkward, and like the Tiger King folks, the people who worked at the zoo who he was interviewing, the whole time were just like starstruck, like, oh my god, I'm talking to Joel McHale, like that's so cool. And I'm like, dang, like this is the Joel McHale show, and he's like, man, I'm talking to you guys. This is so cool. And they're just kind of jerking
Joel
each other
McHale
off
was
a little
like,
bit.
Joel McHale's like, oh my god, I'm talking to Doc Antle. He's so cool.
Oh god.
Talking to Patrick Starr. That's that guy. It reminds me of.
Oh my god.
Like chaotic evil Patrick Starr.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Chaotic evil head of sex cult Patrick Starr.
Yeah.
Patrick Starr isn't already.
What's
Have
yeah?
a
It's like
sex
a
cult.
I would
it's
join
like a
Patrick
Venn
Starr's sex
diagram
cult.
That's what-
between. It's
That's
a Venn
what Glove
diagram
World is.
of like
Glove World. Oh, god. It's actually a condom for all 5 of his
Yeah.
tentacles or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit.
It's the perfect Venn diagram of Jim Jones and Patrick Starr. Doc Antle's in the middle of it.
Yeah. Holy shit. Oh my god.
I think because I love like Roman, Greek mythology and history.
Mm-hmm.
And I have watched and read a ton of stuff on the subject, and like there's some good books, but like honestly, like that, like what you're saying, where it's like it's mostly good and it's entertaining, but you have some big issues with like
Mm-hmm.
like you're saying, like the seraphim thing or other sort of like conflicting things. Like I don't know if I've ever seen, at least mythology wise, like anything that satisfies my, like there's always something. Like I love the movie Troy, but also I have so many fucking issues with how it treats the characters.
Yes.
And like, oh, okay, so Menelaus just dies at the beginning, and okay, even though he doesn't die, like in the Iliad, and it just like mishmashing all these different characters. So like that's just kind of I've come to accept. So like I still want to see Blood of Zeus. The trailer piqued my interest.
Yeah.
It looks good, and I'll also throw my hat in for
It's
Castlevania. I really like the video
I'll
game
check it
series,
out.
and that's why I started it. But I really like Castlevania too. I
So-
think it's still gonna bug me, but like
Yeah.
knowing that there is still gonna be the typical issues.
So that's the thing, though, is like the main issue, except for the Hades thing and the Jewish name thing,
Mhm.
and I guess some of the way they pronounce some of the Greek words that they try to use is like maybe I don't know. The creators have Greek sounding last names, so I'm like maybe that's how it's actually pronounced. I don't fucking know. I'm just a kid from Texas with the hat with his name on it. But so like those are the like except for like the
Does Zeus
Hades
have
thing at
that?
the end. Mythology wise, it's pretty solid.
Pretty decent. Okay.
Well, yeah. Okay. There's another there's another like how should I say it? There's like a prop that's used.
MacGuffin? Do you know
It's
that?
I do know the term, but it's not a MacGuffin. It's yeah, it's not like something that they search out for. It's something. It's like we find out that apparently. So there's like how gods have their powers and shit. Well, apparently this particular item is where a god gets his power to do the thing from, and it gets stolen, and then they use it to do shit. But they never established that like the thing is the thing that does the thing, and it just I was like, why the fuck are we fucking around with this like piece of equipment? What's going on? So there's some issues. So there are some issues, but my biggest issue with it is kind of like from a storytelling perspective, with like some of the characters' motivations. Like there's a character who's being manipulated by one of the gods, because this character wants to achieve an objective, The character achieves the objective, and there's like 4 episodes left, and this character just keeps working for the god, is manipulating this character for no reason. Why? You did your thing. Why are you still in the story? You know? And it's stuff like that that really bothers me the most with it. It's like they things just don't make sense. Why are the characters doing what they're doing? And you can only answer that question for about half of them at any given time. And that's what I hate about it. And that's what nobody's talking about in the reviews I've read. Unless maybe I'm just an idiot and I like slept through the part where they were explaining it, and I don't know. But yeah, so that's mythology-wise, it's the best that I've seen. Except there's a. Have you seen the movie adaptation of the Odyssey? Or I guess a movie adaptation?
I have seen I've seen a couple. I've seen like an animated one and then like a couple live action ones.
There's a live action one. I can't fucking spell it. That I watched. I don't fucking know which one it is, but 1997. Oh wait, no, that's a miniseries. I don't know. It wasn't a miniseries. What I'm talking about. Well, anyway, it's a movie, and I ordered it at. Oh fuck! I found it. It's Warner Brothers. Can't read this fucking poster. Armand Assante.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the one I was thinking.
Oh yeah, have you seen that one?
Yeah, that's like one of the most popular ones, I think. So, but yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, I think so. Like, in okay, this is gonna sound like bragging, but it's not. In 8th grade, my English teacher, at the end of the year, pulled aside a few of the students and said, "Okay, guys, y'all are achievers. You don't belong in any like fucking 9th grade English class next year. Here's what you do: you go to the fucking school district and you take the test. You test out of English about 9th grade English. I think you could do it. Go to 10th grade English next year." And we're like, "Wow, that's so cool." So we got the reading list. We read all the books, and then found out like 3 days before the test that it was actually a totally different test, the totally different reading list from what we were told, and I had to read the Odyssey over a weekend, and I was like, "Fuck that!" And so my mom overnighted this movie, and we just all sat around the TV and watched this movie, and then my sister would like interject and say, "Actually, this is wrong," because she's read the book. And I was the only one who passed the fucking test because I saw the movie.
That's awesome.
So in that sense, it's really accurate.
Okay.
It got me out of 9th grade English. This movie, I owe a lot to it.
Well, we definitely support cheating here, so. It's a big
we're
part
Team
of our...
Zeus. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, Team Zeus. Okay, that went on a little long. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I mean, that's right at half hour. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's okay for like an opening. Like,
Okay, cool.
that's at least when we talked like the one time about structuring, that was our goal. So
Let's,
Oh, awesome.
No, it's perfect.
it's pretty good.
let's
Totally
rate the
forgot about
opening,
that
though.
conversation that happened.
Let's use
I was there.
We should get a scale
I
for
remember it.
rating the opening. We'll rate
What?
ourselves. We should rate ourselves. So let's rate that opening, and then at the end, we'll rate our review as well.
Okay.
Dude,
and then
that's-
I'll pull from the cup what
Yeah.
one of us is going to watch to bring for the opening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Layers. Lots of layers.
Nick, you have to watch 120 Days of Sodom for next week.
Cool. Fine, you have to watch Come and See. I don't know.
Hey, that's in the actual cup, so
Yeah. I bought that on the Criterion sale over the summer, and I've been like too afraid to watch it. I've heard it's like very, very hard to watch.
yeah. It's the same. That's what I've heard too. Okay. So anyways, we all watched a movie. this last week, or
We did indeed.
today. Some of us watched it today.
I think all three of us did. I think all three of us did.
I literally pushed play with like zero top. Like I actually skipped a little bit of the beginning because I was gonna be like 4 minutes late. So I was like, all right, I don't need this exposition. I know what's going on.
Yeah, when I pulled up HBO Max, I noticed that it was like 20 minutes in already, and I was like,
Yep.
I think somebody's watching it right now.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
That was me.
Okay. So we all watched All the President's Men, movie from 1976, directed by Alan J. Pakula. It tells the true story of the Watergate scandal. It focuses on Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward, two journalists who worked at the Washington Post and kind of were on the forefront of the unearthing of the Watergate scandal and the whole conspiracy with President Nixon and, you know, the voting thing. You know, we all took history class, right? So what does everyone
But I
think
cheated
about
by-
it? I'll let someone else take it because I'm gonna go grab a glass real quick.
Oh, I have something to read.
Yeah, that's right. No, yeah, I want to hear this.
So this is taken from Hunter S. Thompson's Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail, 1972. He was following the McGovern campaign during the primary.
Okay.
I think he wrote these for Rolling Stone, and then he published them as a book later. But this is the opening of the chapter for June, what was it, June 11th or June 1st when like the Watergate thing happened? Like they found them in the hotel.
17th.
June 17th. So this, if you're not familiar with Hunter S. Thompson's like writing style, is like gonzo journalism style. This is because like this movie, sorry, I'm doing a preamble. Because like I feel like this movie like glorifies like the whole like working in a newspaper, being a journalist, like sitting by your typewriter and just like boom 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 on the phone. You're just getting leads, you're getting stories.
I felt it.
And this is like I thought this was a good counterpoint to all of that. I am growing extremely weary of writing constantly about politics. My brain has become a steam vat. My body is turning to wax and bad flab. Impotence looms. My fingernails are growing at a fantastic rate of speed. They are turning into claws. My standard-sized clippers will no longer cut the growth, so now I carry a set of huge toenail clippers and sneak off every night around dusk, regardless of where I am. In any city, hamlet, or plastic hotel room along the campaign trail, to chop another quarter of an inch off of all 10 fingers. People are beginning to notice, I think, but fuck them. I'm beginning to notice some of their problems, too. Drug dependence is out in the open now. Some people are getting heavy into downers, Reds, Quaaludes, Valiums, and others are gobbling speed, booze, Malox, and other strange medications with fearsome regularity. The 1972 presidential campaign is beginning to feel more and more like the second day of a Hells Angels Labor Day picnic.
Awesome.
I don't know.
The fucking detail on his fingernails.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Okay, I just remember I got something I'll play while I go grab my drink. This is actually this is all part of the I looked up after the movie, and apparently this is like an ad that Nixon was like, I'm not sure if it's like real or not, but it's like an ad. I don't know, it's just a really weird political ad that he was going to run, sort of like to combat I don't know, it was something like when the Watergate thing was coming up and like his weird ass attempt at a defense. So let me know when you guys have it pulled up.
Got it.
Hold on.
Oh my word.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, hit me. All right, I got it pulled up. Hit me with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's real or not, but you guys let me know. I've watched it already, so you guys can tell me what you think of it.
Yeah. All right.
Right, here we go. But remember, this is just a joke. It's supposed to be funny. Not about the part about me being president. Vote for TJ.
Oh my god.
Not just your average hallway resident. TJ, he an ex-student body president. Walk into class on time like a metronome. Book to my head, knowledge to the dome. I'm a studious lad, yeah, you know I'm loquacious. On the campus trail, I'm a little tenacious. I eat my veggies, drink my milk. I shine my shoes, I wear my silk. It'd be pretty cool if you voted for me. I'm the one on the ballot with the J after T. I got the clothes, the style, the hair, the looks. I got the knowledge, the power, and bag full of books. ACT so high, got the teachers in trances. Don't worry about the formers, cause I'm all about the dances. This whole election is up to you, but vote for me, your wildest dreams will come true. True.
Oh my god.
You look like Isaiah there.
Vote for TJ. Vote for TJ. Vote for TJ. Vote for TJ. Vote. It's TJ. Vote for TJ. Vote for TJ. Vote for TJ. It's TJ. No. No, it's TJ. Vote for TJ.
So yeah,
Oh my God.
really weird. I don't know like how he thought that was gonna work, because it doesn't address any of the issues that were brought up.
Yeah, and it's weird how he got the Shook Ones beat like 20 years before it was made.
Yeah.
If I get DMCA struck for that,
Yeah.
Did you were you actually running for like class president or some shit?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
And did you win?
No, I didn't, because they
Because
didn't
the-
let me run that.
Yeah, they
They
didn't
were
let
like,
him run it.
"Are you fucking kidding me? If that ad had run, I guarantee I would have got class
I'm just
president."
fucking with you, dude.
oh yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
Um,
you would have. And
No,
that
and
was
the
another
reason-
one of those like, hey, you're running for student body president? Okay, let's write a song and go shoot this like literally in one afternoon.
The reason they didn't let me do that is because none of the other candidates did a campaign video, and I was like, well, that's their fucking problem.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's bullshit. Like,
Well,
don't schools normally like? I mean, like, if the people want to, like, don't they let them do that?
that's them tacitly acknowledging that video would have crushed.
yeah.
yeah.
when you told me that they didn't let you show it, I thought it was because of the books to the head, knowledge to the dome with the gunshot. I was like, yeah, probably shouldn't have like that shit associated with schools,
But it's
especially
knowledge
in America.
You're killing yourself with knowledge.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, does somebody want to take away the movie now? Now that we
Yeah.
got that weird Nixon ad out of the
Now
way,
that we
Yeah.
saw
talk
that,
about the movie.
yeah, I really
Directed by
I
Ron
think that really
Howard.
that really ties everything together. Like it makes more sense
Yeah.
now. I wish they would have included
that makes
it
me
in the
really
movie.
hate Nixon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like even more. Wait a minute. Sorry.
What?
Sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but I just made that was a good that was good because his whole "I am not a crook," and like that's like one of the lyrics in that song, like the actual song.
In
Shook Ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it actually
Whoa.
is tied in a little bit. If you would have led with that would have been pretty good.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah. Damn.
Sorry. Anyways, go ahead.
No, you're good. I guess overall, I didn't realize how much I guess I liked procedural movies like this until I watched it, and then I was like, oh yeah, this might be like a thing that I'm super into from like as movies, because it made me think of like Zodiac as well, like the whole like film that mostly takes place
I had a lot of
in
Zodiac vibes too.
in like an office, like a why can't I think of the word, the public newspaper office,
Yeah.
whatever,
Publishing office or whatever.
but I wasn't sure
Newsroom
like
floor.
the
That's
new,
what
yeah. Where what's the New York or the Washington Post, is that where freedom
darkness-
dies in the dark, something like that.
Like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which way to approach this movie, like from like a filmmaking perspective or like a subject matter perspective, because like I got that book over the summer, like reading about the 1972 primary and like the campaign and all that, and I was reading it during the Yeah.
Says the person who just talked about blood of Zeus for a half hour.
The mythology's not actually correct.
Actually, but it was like these weird parallels between like the 2020 primaries that were going on over the summer, and like I feel like in a way like the 1972 election and primaries are like weirdly important, like in terms of like overreaching things to like to explain our political culture now. Sorry, I guess I'm gonna get political on this one because it is like a political.
No way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, right? But
because
like the beginning of like the book, it's like the whole thing is like we need to stop Nixon. We could do other stuff, but the big thing is to stop Nixon. And that's like the exact same rhetoric of 2020 that was just like, yeah, healthcare, minimum wage. Well, we just need to get Trump out. That's like the most important thing. Is like these weird parallels that I found. What's that?
Anybody but Trump was like a rallying cry.
Any functioning adult 2020. But
Yikes.
because like I thought this movie was fascinating, but I think it got the most fascinating to me near the end. Within like the last 30 minutes, I was like, okay, now when they started talking about like how it was like an entire conspiracy between like the FBI and the CIA and like all that kind of shit, that's where it piqued my interest, and I was like, I want to know about that, because I've listened to like there was like a podcast that I listened to where they talked about George Herbert Walker Bush, who was like head of the CIA for like a year, and like
he's also president.
No, I know, but his time in the CIA, his time in the CIA is like really important because like the Bush family is like a very prestigious family, and like I don't know, the podcast basically supposed that Nixon was set up for the Watergate thing because like he chose not to have like a random Bush like as like his running mate, and like the Bush like George H.W. Bush is like skull and bones society from Yale and like all that kind of shit, and it's like that is not a family that you diss in any way or form, and like he's as like the head of the CIA, there's like making these connections between like the CIA. Basically no one liked Nixon, like because he was weird and he was paranoid and he didn't kiss the right asses. So I think Nixon as a figure is really interesting. I think the dude is bad. I think he's a pretty shitty guy, and I think he was a pretty shitty president from what I gathered, but the subject matter of like the Watergate stuff is like fascinating, and I wasn't sure like how far the movie would go into like the CIA stuff, or if it was going to be just like your, I don't want to say bog standard, but like Woodward and Bernstein, they blah 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 blah. But go ahead.
No, finish your thought before.
But I mean, I guess I didn't know a lot of the nitty gritty details of it, so I thought that was pretty interesting to see it from like the journalist perspective of like, we need like solid leads, we need like real people that'll go on record and not your anonymous parking garage sources. Which is funny because I was like, oh, Deep Throat, like the X-Files character. Like I'm pretty sure X-Files like took that directly because like from what I read, 100%. This is like the very first time like Deep Throat as like the FBI informant, like off the records guy was like introduced. So I thought that was fun. Okay, I'm done.
It's funny that you said that you don't diss the Bush family, and then they have a human like meme factory in Jeb. Like
I was trying to find a way to weasel Jeb into that.
That is COINTELPRO. That is like there's a marketing team behind Jeb to make
Jeb.
Okay.
Jeb was I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna lab. Just
that was like but that was a thing with George H.W. Bush too. He kind of talked like this, and he kind of had a little bit of a limp wrist, and like he had that kind of Southern Belle voice, and like you think that he's like a silly little like prissy baby, like, but that he's like, oh, he likes to eat his crackers and Werthers, but like that's the image that like that he gave off while he was like doing shit in the CIA and like overthrowing leftist governments in South America.
Yeah, why do you were talking about his, and like I don't know why or like where I heard, but like you talking about how like he was like a ruthless like CIA like dude, and I know I've like heard all about that, but I have no idea
Where from?
where from. But yeah, that yeah,
Your own deep throat.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
own informant.
but now he's dead, so fuck him. So
I love that. I think it was like, I don't know if it was a Vine. Oh no, I think it was like a TikTok. But it's like him sitting in his wheelchair at the baseball game. It's got this dramatic music playing, and then he's like looking around, and then he lifts up the baseball.
Oh my god!
Because he's like 100 years old, like throwing out the first pitch. So he's just like.
Have
He's
you
a
guys
lump
ever
in a
seen
chair.
like the Wet Hot American Summer stuff?
well, yeah,
The movie?
I have.
Yeah, the movies and the Netflix shows.
I haven't seen the
shows.
TV show, but I've seen the movie.
Oh, okay. Because there's a pretty good like parody of George H.W. Bush in that.
Yeah.
And Ronald Reagan. That's yeah. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, the Ronald Reagan.
Shit
Bruce
on my
Campbell
shit.
plays Ronald Reagan. Or no, it's
No.
I'm thinking of Fargo. Bruce
It's
Campbell
Michael-
plays Ronald Reagan. Yeah, Michael Showalter is him in that.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell plays Ronald Reagan in Fargo. That's what I was thinking of.
What?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, but yeah, Michael Showalter is him in that, and yeah, the shows are great. I think the shows are fucking awesome. As long as if you like the movie, at least, because it's got
Yeah.
that same oddball, weird humor, but
Yeah.
they're even older and playing the same age characters or whatever.
Yeah.
Like 15-year-olds or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of gonna go off of like I wasn't expecting it to be, even though I knew it was based on a book by Bernstein and Woodward. I knew they were the main characters. I didn't know it was gonna be like exclusively just from like the journalism side. Like hardly any of like the actual like legal investigation stuff. Like you know. I thought it was gonna kind of like work that in more, and I just glanced over because I wanted to bring this up so I don't forget it again. And it's funny that you mentioned the ties to Zodiac. I noticed the name when it came up in the opening credits. David Shire did the music for this and for Zodiac.
Huh.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
nuts. That's what a cool. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did you do the music for Spotlight too?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I was also, I kept comparing it to a different, more recent movie, which is about the same thing, The Post, and I can at least say I like this a lot more than The Post, because that movie's kind of boring and nothing.
I haven't seen the Post.
It's weird
Yeah,
because
same.
it's about the Washington Post, but it's like about it's more like Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks are the main characters, and they're like I don't know, they're like the more higher ups. I don't know if Tom Hanks is Ben Bradley, maybe, or if he's someone else. I can't remember, but it's just way less interesting, and like it's if you're telling the story, it's got to be Woodward and Bernstein that you're focusing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Spotlight?
No.
I've seen it.
No.
No. Okay.
It's about the Catholic Church, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's basically this kind of it's like almost I wouldn't say the exact same movie, but it follows the investigative team for the Boston
Okay.
Globe, I think it is, as they
Interesting.
uncover all this stuff. And it's very similar. It's obviously newer, so it's a little bit more like polished, I guess. It's really good though. I mean, it won Best Picture, right? Like
I believe so.
3 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was okay, but yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. It's not like Shakespeare in Love or something that absolutely did not deserve to win or something, but it's good. I've seen it a few times, and I mean I really like most of the people who are in that.
It does have a good cast, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with The Post, to be honest. It has a good cast. I like love me some
Yeah,
Tom
is
Hanks.
that? Yeah, is that the one with Kate Winslet?
No.
She's not in that.
I don't know which one you're thinking of.
I don't know what I'm thinking of either.
No, it's got Bob Odenkirk, Bradley Whitford, Matthew Rhys, Alison Brie, Carrie Coon.
No, it's
Jesse
Meryl
Plemons,
Streep.
David
Meryl
Cross.
Streep.
It's
is what
got
I'm
Bob
thinking of.
and David in it, so.
Yeah, you know what? That's why I didn't watch it, because I fucking can't stand Meryl Streep. I gotta be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, hot takes.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not a huge fan of her.
I guess I'd say I think she's a little overhyped, but she's definitely good in stuff that in certain things. Like I do like her in. Well, I can't think of anything right now.
Adaptation. I love her in
like
Adaptation.
Oh yeah, Adaptation is a good one. Yeah.
She's in Kramer versus Kramer too, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's good in that. I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying, like, she's like the Jeb Bush of actresses to me.
Meryl Streep.
I want to. I wish I had a hotkey for like that GIF of her where she's just like, yes.
Great.
Yeah.
So, I think it's interesting you bring up, Nick, that like you really like procedural movies and shit. Like I do too, but there's always two issues that come up for me. One is I can't keep track of the fucking. It always moves so fast, and there's so many names being thrown out, and you gotta remember and keep like a fucking memory palace with everything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm glad that they like Sloane. They interviewed Sloane like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, okay, that's who Sloane
Now
is.
I know who Sloane
I'm
is.
Good. Yeah, but a lot of these fucking other names, like, I'm glad that they repeated like Mitchell so much. I'm like, okay, Mitchell is the like Attorney General or whatever the fuck, and I'm like, okay, I got it. But names that they only say once or twice. And then it connect it, and then they like it's I can't follow it. I just don't have a brain for that.
For the most part, it seems like you kind of don't need to remember a lot of them. It does. I know what you mean. It feels like, oh shit, okay, I gotta write this down, like all these different
fucking
names.
Notes while you're watching a movie.
Yeah, but not for a podcast. Just like watching it casually. You gotta take notes, and then. Yeah, and then, but like at the end of it, yeah, exactly. But really, yeah, it's a lot of it's just inconsequential. Like you don't really need to know all of them.
It's about the drama, like and the conflict with the characters and shit.
But it does. I have that same exact like. It's like almost a compulsion to like, wait, what was that name? Okay, I got to remember that name, and it's like not mentioned again, and you're like, oh, you don't.
It's anxiety inducing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole reason I kept saying that I wanted to watch it again, because like I had the same thing where like I was tuned in, but like God, there was so much. There was so much information being up. The only reason that I was able to remember characters like John Mitchell and Hugh Sloane in particular is because of a board game called Watergate. That's all about. It's actually a really good board game.
That's awesome.
But it's where like one person plays the Nixon administration, and then the other person plays the Washington Post, and you fight to either conceal or expose the whole conspiracy and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
It's very good. But you do it by the Washington Post wins by getting like 3 or 4 sources, and 2 of those sources are John Mitchell and Hugh Sloane. So like, right when they said that, I was like, I know who those guys are, because like the game, it's really nice. Like the game manual has like page-long descriptions of all of these people and like what they did in the
mugshot.
You know, like their relation to the whole thing, and it's it's like one of those like it's kind of like it's not like it's just primarily a board game, but it's got a lot of like real history stuff in there.
That's interesting.
It's got it's the game board is like a bulletin board with like yarn with pins all over the place.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's kind of cool.
It looks really cool.
And you literally literally like you're trying to connect the dots between Nixon and like the sources by literally like placing pieces. You gain information tokens through playing cards and whatever.
There's a Watergate personalities boxed chess set.
Oh my god.
And it's got fucking like Nixon as like the king in one of the sets and shit. Oh my god. The other issue that I run into with procedural shit is when it's like when it's centered on the point of view of like the police as opposed to like journalists. It's it's getting harder and harder for me to empathize with like police characters in movies and shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And so like my parents fucking love what is it, NCIS, and was it NCIS? Maybe it's one of those fucking shows. Oh, it was
one of those 30 shows.
It was Covert Operations. I don't fucking know. Okay, the point is, it's one of those shows, and like I sat down. I was home one day and I sat down and watched the episode they were on with them, and a guy straight up fucking like takes the the suspect and like they're at like a shipyard thing, and he's like they're like on a high place, and he like fucking holds him and by the collar and dangles him over the edge, and they're like Jones, don't do it, he's not worth it, and then he throws him on the ground on the platform next to him. He's like, you're right, thanks for pulling me back. But they're all like, yeah, I would have done it, oh man, and they're like just like celebrating like police violence. And I'm like, yeah, okay, like in this case, the guy being threatened was a scumbag, but also like, what the fuck, like show some restraint.
There's
and they're,
due
like, celebrating
process for that.
I can't enjoy that shit anymore.
And then they try to disguise it by calling, instead of the police, they only refer to them in this movie as Seraphim. And then it's like, well, that's not what they were called.
Okay, Seraphim, every time you guys say it, it sounds more and more like a face wash or something. Or like
I'm sorry.
like
What is this? Was this in the movie?
No,
it was in
Seraphim
that
is
Blood
from
of
the
Zeus show.
From Blood of Zeus.
From the nerd show.
The leader of the demons.
I was like, wait, I don't remember that
name.
from the movie. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you missed the part with the Nixon ad too. Then that's why you were a little lost there too.
Oh god.
I thought it was like an interesting. Oh, sorry, Moose. Finish your thought about procedurals.
No, yeah. So like, I really, so I'm glad that I got to watch this movie, because I also enjoy that kind of storytelling, on its own. It's just I haven't had the opportunity lately to see a lot of movies from like a journalist's perspective, or like someone who's not law enforcement. So that made it kind of enjoyable for me. Like, oh yeah, I do like this genre.
What I liked about it is, I don't know, it's actually kind of a little bit of a pro, but also a con. That to me, it was like kind of giving me flashbacks to Ben and Arthur a little bit, where it's like, okay, they just set this camera up and it's just like a wide shot.
And Bob.
What?
I said Carl and Bob. Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Bob and Carl.
That's the alternate title.
But yeah, it was just like a wide shot, which it was fine. I mean, at least it was like in focus and not like 120p. Like you could
which
discern
may or
what was
may
going
not
on.
have been Sam
No, it was
Marovich's fault.
But like the conversations, like the dialogue felt really like natural, but almost to a point where it was too natural, if that makes sense. There's one specific scene that I can think of where they're talking to Barry Benderson or whatever the fuck the guy's name is.
Ben Bradley.
Barry Blue Jeans. Shit.
Ben Bradley.
Ben Bradley.
Yeah.
And they're all
Jason
just like
Robards.
standing in the room, like talking. And Robert Redford does this thing where he's like, "What? Yeah, no." And it's like very natural, where he just like kind of like, they're kind of like talking over each other, and it was like, it's natural, but at the same time there was parts where I couldn't really hear what was going on, if that makes sense. Like it was
because they were talking over each other, or
a little bit, yeah, and like a lot of like the background like typewriter noises and stuff. It was like, okay, the sound mix is a little off. It's good. It's just like
sound mix.
It was just a little too high on that end, I thought, because there were some times where I cranked it up so I could hear. Maybe I'm just old, but like,
dude,
I cranked it up and I could hear it, and then it was like my speakers would like get blown out by like somebody hitting like enter on a key on a typewriter.
Yeah, I watched it with subtitles on. Yeah.
Always.
Oh, okay.
That's how I watched
Always.
it. I even feel like there were a couple
British accents or some shit. Always.
Yeah. I feel like there were a couple moments where even like a couple line deliveries, they kind of started their sentence and then like stopped and then restarted the sentence and like said like, and it, you almost would think that it's like you could have just done a better, cleaner take, but I think that also maybe added to like the naturalness of like, oh, this is how people talk. Like it's not always Aaron Sorkin, take note.
Yeah. Yeah, what I liked about the movie was the tracking shots. I really liked a lot of like the technical aspects of it, but like every time they were like in that in like the main like office floor and they start moving, I'm like, here we go. Because like I don't know why, but like every time they did
like
one
a
of
roller coaster
those
going
tracking
up.
shots, it was so cool. Like I don't know, they just those work.
Aaron
I was gonna
Sorkin, take
mention
note.
that too. Yeah, the Aaron Sorkin. Yeah, they're walking.
Yeah.
talks.
No, there's one of my notes is like grabbing a woman by the arm, Aaron Sorkin, eat your heart out. Like the scene where like they pull her back into the office and they're walking through and it's a tracking shot. I'm like, oh, I've seen this before.
Okay.
And, like Aaron Sorkin's like a good example of someone that like I simultaneously, when I watch his work, I enjoy it, but also I find him like insufferable on a personal level.
Kind of like Elon Musk or something.
So maybe for some of our listeners who aren't familiar with Aaron Sorkin and his work,
just
why
the
don't we,
listeners only, and no one else.
The listeners who aren't film experts like ourselves.
Social Network,
like all four of
West
us.
Wing. That's
Yeah.
probably like his most known shit.
No, he did.
Newsroom?
He did Newsroom. God, you
Studio
can't handle
60.
the truth. A Few Good Men.
Oh, A Few Good Men. Yeah.
He's originally a playwright and then got into filmmaking. But yeah, The West Wing, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, which came out the same year as 30 Rock and has like the exact same premise.
Yeah.
So when y'all are saying like Aaron Sorkin, take note, what's the joke there?
One was he does a very common thing in his things is walk and talks, where it's just people walking and talking. It's just kind of like, it was a thing that's kind of like like mainly from the West Wing, and it was very like known from that show. And then he writing wise, dialogue wise, he originally was a playwright. He wrote A Few Good Men was a stage play. Oh, I missed some.
No, you're good. You're
talking about.
Yeah, you're good.
So his dialogue is always very, very structured and like very like
polished.
I almost like give him extremely to like almost a fault. I really dig Aaron Sorkin, and like I feel like I cut him a little slack where I wouldn't otherwise, because like, and I don't know, I don't even like Aaron Sorkin himself. He's kind of like Quentin Tarantino, where like I think that the people themselves are douchebags.
Yeah, that's what Nick said too.
Oh, really? But
Sorkin is just like
good writers.
Sorkin is just like slightly left of center, but he's like one of those like establishment libs who like loves authority and procedure and just like neoliberalism, which is again, we're getting back into politics, but like that's his sort of bag, and it's I feel like the West Wing has poisoned the minds of a lot of people who lean Democrat. But you know, that's a different story for a different podcast.
I mean, West Wing rules, so that's
it's
all.
a good I watched like 13 episodes of it during quarantine, and it was like I begrudgingly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, it is good, but I also I'm not like I do really like it, but I'm not like over the moon about it to where there's more than a few occasions where I'm rolling my eyes at like the preachiness of it, and I'm like, this is too far. Like, this is not reality.
Anytime like Martin Sheen, like the whole like the biblical scene where he like
in the church.
That's one of them. But there's like that YouTube. It's a clip that gets passed around.
No, I know what you're talking about.
He's like, "Oh, I want to sell my daughter into slavery." So according to the Leviticus chapter, whatever, and it's one of those like epic owns types of things where it's like like, yeah, it's like, oh, he totally epically shut her down. And it's like Sorkin and also female characters is kind of a problematic thing where it's like, like the women in his shows exist to like get talked down to and like sarcastically derided. But,
somewhat. I feel like The West Wing probably handles female characters the best because you have
Allison
like
Janney's
CJ.
character rules.
Yeah, CJ and Donna.
CJ, she fucking she's like my favorite character in the show actually. She
might
ass.
be. Yeah, she's really good. I really like.
She
Sam.
like doesn't take shit
Go
at
into-
all.
We're not reviewing The West Wing, guys. We're not reviewing her. We're just kind of trying to.
So
catch
this week we
moves.
binge
I mean,
watched the
viewers up.
entire West Wing series.
All the President's Men walked
wing-
so Aaron
wing
Sorkin
west.
could fly.
Yeah. Going back to the tracking shots, there's like it's kind of like a, what is it, North by Northwest shot where it's like, it's after he talks to Deep Throat for I think the last time, or maybe it's the second to last time, where the
Are you talking
car
about the
peels
Zoom?
out. The Dr. Zoom? No. Kind of. It's like this track. It's like this shot where it's like following him, and he's like walking, and it's just from behind, and he's just like kind of quickening his pace, and he like starts like running, and then then all of a sudden he like snaps around like that, and he like looks back, and there's like nothing there. Like that was like a really that shot was like a really good way to like build tension. I thought like
Doesn't it zoom in on him a little bit?
it might.
Maybe.
Because like I think in my notes I just wrote good zoom. I feel like there aren't enough zooms in movies
People don't
anymore.
use zooms. I've been saying that for years.
I like Wes Anderson is such a good user of zooms. But anyway, that scene definitely with the music and like the fog rolling in and you can see the car lights, and he, as soon as like Robert Redford turns and looks and it does like that slight zoom, I was like, yes, that was a really good sequence.
Which is funny because there's a lot of scenes. I mean, granted, they're just like talking, so it's hard to really do anything like crazy interesting with the camera. But like, it felt like to me a majority of the movie was like just kind of static shots. So it was like pretty cool to like have that in
Maybe
there.
that's why. Yeah, maybe that's why those stuck out to me so much.
Yeah, probably.
But-
yeah.
But they were really well done when they were done. Even though I noticed in a couple shots you could tell that they're on wheels because it was a little shaky.
Was it?
But I still it didn't hurt it for me really. Like I
I didn't really notice it.
I still liked it. I thought it was neat. But I also really like the opening, the very first thing where it's the extreme close up on the piece of paper. I actually like it went for a while and I was like right when I was checking to see if I had accidentally paused the movie, the first went up. I was like, oh, okay. But I loved the super loud, super like dense typewriting sound effects. I thought that was really cool. And like, I don't know, I really liked, that's what I mean. Like I really liked all the technical stuff. Cause like they were like normal tracking shots, but for some reason I really liked every time they did those. And then anytime they focus, like they closed the movie on like that little short montage of typewriting, you know, this person. And every time they did that, it was just very, it's just like, I don't know why, but like serotonin levels, boop. It was something I just enjoyed. Like,
well, the ending shot is like
something.
The ending shot is like a perfect juxtaposition, and
Of,
like
the
I don't
two
know,
of them, like the last shot of like people. Or?
yeah, well, a juxtaposition between, I guess, like what's to come, and like because like the TV is on and it's Nixon being sworn in, and like everyone's applauding, and it's just like, you know,
The ending was really cool. I really liked it.
it's like, you know, like the highlight of Nixon's, you know, he won re-election, and now he's. And it's like as he's being sworn in, it's this slow zoom, and you just see everyone. You see the two guys just diligently chugging along and typing along, and it's like, because like you know what happens. So it's just like,
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
it's like a good
'cause-
finale, but also like very tense too as it ends.
Yeah, because I was
And like
I was
almost
wondering
bittersweet.
why it ended where it did. And
I was a little surprised. I was like, okay, this movie has to be almost over, just time wise, but it it still kind of caught
Yeah.
me by surprise.
There'd be
Yeah.
no way to fill, like, how they would need another full-length movie to go from
Yeah.
that point to him, like,
Yeah.
that would be
And
insane.
like, as the
All the president's horses.
as, God damn it, as the like headlines and stuff came out, like kind of wrapping up the story, and like realizing that the like this was only the beginning, and it took years to like uncover everything. And then like we were talking before the show that like it was made in, what did we decide, 1979?
6.
76.
Like right after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
Some of those names were like 75, like mid 1975.
It was like
So it
March,
makes-
I think, was the latest
okay.
one.
so like I guess it makes sense, like they didn't have all the fucking details from
Yeah,
you know,
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I didn't
the
even
last
think of that.
several years of it. But
That's true.
But that's nice, I think. And now that you've pointed it out, Nick, that they ended it like with Nixon's inauguration as kind of like a warning, or like not a warning, but like a hint, like this is not over.
It's like two diametrically opposed forces, kind of like
Yeah.
it's closing in on each
Converging.
other.
Yeah, the ending. I did think that was a cool way of doing that, instead of just having like the white text like fade in and then fade out. Like, this is
Yeah.
what happened. I thought that I liked the typewriter noise. I just thought it was a little too high, and I really didn't like how the end. It was like da 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 da. Nixon resigned. Da 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 da. And then no sound, and then it like almost immediate. It didn't like sit on it at all. It just was like period, and then no sound, and then like fade to black. And I thought it was kind of like abrupt, if that makes any sense. I mean, I'm
Is that at
nitpicking
the-
here.
Is that at the end of the
The very last,
The very last one.
the very last?
the
one?
very last.
So
one.
I was actually thinking about that when it happened. I was like, okay, they're kind of going quickly through all of these, and then like
Yeah.
immediately after the headline's over, they go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. And I was thinking, okay, how are they gonna handle the Nixon resigns one? And because that's gonna be the last one, it's gonna be Nixon resigns. How are they gonna end it? Because if they just cut to black, then like it's not satisfying. There's not enough time. They got to linger on it, and they did linger on it. And I was like, yeah, I called it. I'm good at movies. And and so I think
I win.
I won the prize. I know who Aaron Sorkin is. And so I was like, I thought it was appropriate. You know, they did, like, Nixon resigns, and then just like linger on it for a second, fade to black. You
I
know?
thought it would have been
What were you
cool.
hoping for?
I was hoping for like Nixon resigns, and then like it pulls out, and
Nixon doing the Charlie Brown walk out of the White House.
no, like Dustin Hoffman pulls the paper out and he looks at it for a second, and then he looks over his shoulder, and Bob Woodward's there, and he's just like, and they stand up and they do like
High
a freeze
five.
frame high five.
And then it
no.
plays.
That was what I was.
Thumbs
Yeah,
up. They just thumbs up.
Don't you forget
Yeah.
about me. Freeze frame.
Yeah.
that's what I was hoping for. Something with more. I need some pizzazz. That's all I'm
Some
saying.
punch.
I need
Yeah.
some flair.
Oh, I wanted to bring up. Did you guys notice? There's a few people where it was like, this. I was surprised how many times I was like,
You're a little.
oh hey,
flat.
it's that guy.
Yeah, the dude from
So-
12 Angry Men.
There was two. Both of those older dudes
Okay.
are from 12 Angry Men.
That's what I wondered. I thought
the,
that,
like,
but I didn't.
Not Ben
I knew
Bradley.
the one guy was.
No,
No,
not
no,
Ben
no.
Bradley, but like the two other senior members from the paper are
Yeah.
two of the jurors from 12 Angry Men.
Oh,
and it was
really?
funny because I was looking up one of them, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I think that's that guy." And then as I was looking him up, they were both on screen, and then as I was looking that guy up, the other one came up, and I was like, "Oh, fuck, they're both from 12." That's
Yeah,
so
no.
cool. And there's so many conversations where it's just. Or there's not so many, but there's a couple scenes where it's just them two talking. I'm like, oh my god, it's like 12 Angry Men. They're just these two dudes in a room arguing.
I knew the one guy. The one guy's the foreman. So like I knew him. But I didn't place the other guy.
Is
I
he?
guess.
I think that's Martin Balsam. Is that guy's name?
I don't know.
That guy's the foreman? I thought that was a different one. And then the other guy's the baseball fan. He's got like the hat on, and he's
he's like the last one to like fold, I think, or one of the.
No,
last
I
ones.
think he's like, oh yeah, no, he might be, or he might be like the halfway point, because he's just like, yeah, whatever, let's just get it over with, kind of.
Yeah.
I want to go see my baseball game.
I want to listen to the game. Yeah.
And then Seventh Heaven Dad was
Yeah,
Hugh,
I was gonna say he was Sloan.
Hugh Sloan, yeah. And then
that was a little awkward.
What? Just that it was the Seventh Heaven Dad, and he was a bad guy. And you're like,
Do you-
no, he's
Pedophile.
Oh,
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's
going
also
around that.
Bruce
Going
Over, I
around that
guess.
little factoid. Going around that little thing.
He also got wiretapped into admitting that.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Should have seen that coming.
Yeah. Avoiding that topic. The other one I didn't notice until I got to the credits. Noticed his name and then had to go back. The officer that arrests the dudes in the first scene.
I know you're about
that
to
arrested
say.
people at Watergate. That's F. Murray Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
I saw his name in the credits and I was like, where the fuck was he? And then
Yeah.
that's him, which also crazy. Just,
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff.
I mean, he's Salieri in Amadeus. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah, so like in choir in high school, whenever there's a substitute teacher, you just fucking watch
just play Amadeus
again. Yeah.
okay. You know what? That'd be good with me. Amadeus is one of those movies. That's one of my favorite movies ever. That's one of those movies that, like, every time I talk about it, I'm like, well, I guess I'm watching Amadeus now, because it's like you think about it and you're like, oh my god, there's so much good in that movie that I'm just like, I just want to absorb it again. There's a handful of movies like that where, like, every time I'm like, I have a conversation about it, I'm like, watch that movie again.
Is that in the cup?
It is. Of course
Okay.
it is.
Good.
I was gonna tell you to put it in there, but it wasn't on any streaming services. Have you guys seen 12 Angry Men?
I have
It's
not.
been a while.
It's
I
like
have that one on Criterion.
it's like Aaron Sorkin before Aaron Sorkin. No,
Yeah.
but it does. Now that they say that, it does feel like one that he would.
I think Sorkin works best when he's a writer and he's reined in by someone else. I guess I'm thinking like Social Network, because I think The Social Network is like a really good movie that has that element.
I love The Social Network.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess
it's good.
hindsight is 2020. Like, Mark Zuckerberg is probably an evil alien, but like the way that like The Social Network does that Sorkin-esque snappy dialogue, but also like David Fincher as a director like adds that human quality to it, where like Sorkin is just like
A robot.
pure snark and
Yeah.
quippiness, and it's like you need someone else to like kind of balance that out and like add in like the human element, which I think Fincher is very good at doing.
Yeah, as much like I said, I do like Aaron Sorkin for the most part. I would not like The Social Network as much if it was directed by him. David Fincher is like absolutely key to that movie being as good as it is. But again, we keep getting off.
Yeah, so all
talking
the
about
presidents met.
Social Network. We're not
Well-
talking about Aaron Sorkin.
To kind of segue it towards the actual like rating part of it. I guess what I'm gonna say is that I think the reason that it's easy to kind of get off track is that it's an interesting movie and I enjoyed it, but like a lot of it towards the middle feels samey.
Okay.
There's
I
some
agree.
parts that are like
somewhat
that
agree, yeah.
you kind of get these little peaks where it's like they go back and let's try and trick her into saying who P is. You'll say P. P's
I like
Porter.
that conversation.
Yeah. And what's
That was
funny,
one of my
actually,
favorite scenes when they were setting it up, and they're like, "Wait, should I say it like this? No, maybe say it like this."
Yeah,
Like-
they do that like in a scene like not that much earlier, like fairly, like I don't know, it was maybe 10 minutes earlier. They do something very similar when they're like that montage of like knocking on the doors and like trying to convince people. They're like, oh yeah, we don't reveal our sources or any. They're like people are saying like they're nervous about like talking because I don't want anybody to know who I am, and they're like, well, we don't reveal our sort. They do a similar kind of like gambit. So there's like little peaks like that, but for the most part, it was. Yeah, I felt like I was just trying to memorize names and like, who's that guy and what's that? And then
Who are we talking about here?
Okay, they're just talking about this guy doing this and okay.
Yeah, I think those types of scenes, I think as soon as they broke away from like that format of like the like just medium shot where it's just like people talking, whenever they did anything different, I like snapped to attention.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There was like a scene that I thought was really, really interesting. And it's during one of those scenes where they're like talking to people. It's when they go inside that house and like the one lady like offers them coffee. And it's like Dustin Hoffman's character's like talking to, I don't know her name, but she's like kind of standing in the hallway and she's like in darkness. And there's like a shot where like you see just barely Dustin Hoffman, like, but he's like, I don't know. This might be like film school brain, but like, you know, he's like in between the staircases and then you look back and she's in between like the rungs of the staircase and it's like jail cells. I don't know. But it was like,
oh my God.
Like they were so far away from each other and it was like so dark. And I don't know. I thought it was like interesting at the very least, like the way that they framed that. And like, I was like, oh, that's different than just like the, you know, over the shoulder or medium shot type thing.
I did really like that scene where he like knocks on the door and it's her sister answers and she's like, oh yeah, she can't come to the door, and then he's just like, hey, can I borrow a cigarette, and just like walks in the house.
And
then she's just like standing there like awkwardly, and they start talking a little bit, and then she's like, do you want some coffee? And then her sister's like
like,
she gives her like a look like
that was great.
They're like their characters I thought were great, like both like the way they were written and the performances. I thought like Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford like killed it.
Absolutely.
But also just the way they were written, like all those little tactics they used to get like all the information was really good. I was gonna mention when you said like that was a little flat in the middle. What was it that reminded me? Oh, like one of my favorite scenes, even though it was still one of those information dumps where I'm like, okay, he's talking to this person now. One of my favorite scenes was like, I think it's right after Robert Redford gets his first little, after he goes to that funeral or church thing, and he's like sitting behind the dude. Or no, it's at court. The lawyer guy.
Yeah, it's like right at the beginning. Yeah.
You thought it was a church?
No, it's just been. I remember they were sitting in like pews. I watched this on like Tuesday.
Court is church.
And I've been drinking moonshine, so something with pews. It's like right after that he's back at the post, and it's just like a montage of like nonstop of him just like calling people, hang up, calling this another person, hang up.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but like that scene just like I just really liked like
that was
the way that it was written. Like he was just kind of doing the same thing, but it was like different enough to where it was like, I don't know, and it like kept going, but it like didn't get stale.
That was another thing
really
where I think to kind of go with your point of it not getting stale, it felt natural because it was one of those things where it was almost like it almost felt like improv because he just like they were like, just pick up the phone and use these keywords or names, but like, you know, just call these people, and he just was like finding it as he was like talking. It was just like so what, oh, hold on, let me okay, hello. It just felt like it definitely felt like natural and like real.
I also another little thing that like I thought, like I was like, maybe I'm like focusing on this too much, that I really liked how he took notes. I really liked seeing like him write. I was like, that's so, I don't know, that was another thing that really stuck in my head. I was like,
especially for the beginning, it really like set like a really good tone. Like the first note he writes is like, good God, exclamation point. That's like that first one I remember, and I was like, like that's all the guy was like, good God, I'm not answering questions, and all he writes good God. It's like, okay, cool.
And that it was so weird because I was watching, what did I watch? I watched something after this, not like right after, but since Tuesday, and And I only thought of this because this was another movie where I was like, wow, I didn't realize like how influential this movie was. Like, I think like I was like, I bet this is the first movie. I mean, I could be wrong, but like it seemed like maybe this is the first one where like it's one of those where it's like it's hard to judge because you've seen it done so many other times. Like like Deep Throat, meeting a guy in a parking garage and he's in the shade and he's smoking and like that's so. Especially if you've seen the X-Files, that's
it's
so
very X-Files.
Like just
it's
everywhere now. But I'm like, you know, this might have been the first time that was used. So,
yeah,
My
Most
first
likely,
exposure
the notes
was
thing, I saw.
2 years
sorry, I just
after
wanted
it
to finish.
actually happened. So
Yeah.
most likely
That's
it
nuts.
is the first time.
And I wish I could remember what it was, but somebody was taking notes, and it looked just like how Robert Redford was taking notes in this movie, and I was like, I wonder if that's a reference to it, or if I'm just thinking about it too much. It was weird how like similar it was, but I don't know, maybe not.
my
Kelly
first exposure to the Deep Throat thing was Fairly Odd Parents.
Pornhub.
Did you ever watch the Fairly Odd Parents? Is
Oh,
that
yeah,
is
yeah.
that
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Okay, so and there's like there's a callback to it where like the girl who's Timmy's age has a crush on him is like meets him in the garage
Trixie
and she's
Tang?
smoking or whatever and she's like, call me Deep Toot.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's right.
I
Oh,
remember
man.
that. Yeah,
I
Fucking-
forgot
Wow, I
about that.
completely
Yeah, that was
forgot
deep
about
in there,
that.
wasn't it?
Deep
Oh.
too.
Yeah, that's a
Deep
deep cut. That's a deep
Deep
cut.
Toot.
That's a deep
That's
too.
the only thing I can think about.
What
Deep Toot.
That's
Kelly-
another. Hey, I know that guy. That's Hal Holbrook.
Yeah.
He's another one who like I can't. I have to look up, but he's like another like old guy actor that.
He's into the Wild, which I want to add to the cup if
That's
enough
right.
people haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Have you
Nick?
not seen it, Nick?
Nick's probably seen it.
I think I've seen most of it. I think
Okay.
it's one of those movies that I've caught on TV before. I know
Sure.
the premise and what
Put
happens.
it in a cup. Put it in a cup.
I know the story.
I just rewatched it again.
very
and,
uplifting.
Yeah, it's borderline in my top 10. Like, I really like
yeah?
that movie.
It's been a
Have you
minute
read the
since I've
book?
seen it, but it's good.
Yes. Yeah. Kelly brought up the little doodle, like when he was calling people, and as he started to like
sunglasses.
yeah, and like as he started to like get a
That's
picture
right,
of this
yeah.
guy, he started to
Yeah.
like embellish it a little bit more, like he was getting an actual, like he's like, oh, this guy's bad, I'm gonna make him look like angry and evil and shit, and like that
Oh,
was
I
a
didn't
cool
catch
touch,
that.
too.
Well, I was watching the movie and I'm like, I've got my little, and I was like, hey, that's me. I'm doing that.
I'm taking notes.
I didn't even think
I'm
about that.
cool,
I should have been
Robert
like,
Redford.
I'm
As
like,
soon as
I'm
I see
so
that, I'm
cool.
like,
I'm taking
I
little
need-
notes.
I need 3 different colored pens. Just a second.
Yeah.
Pause.
But like, I think this is there's something, I don't know. It's weird that a movie makes you like super stoked about taking notes, but it's like
yeah.
because it's like, you
And
know, I've got
typewriters.
this and it's like got all of like my movie club notes written in it from like barking dogs to the present. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a cool little
Souvenir.
document, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have any
this,
notes on cats. Sorry.
This the Cats is actually the only one that I did take notes on.
I filled up a whole notebook on cats.
This movie, like, it made me want to fucking like quit my PhD program and go become a journalist, you know? Because
right.
like, dude, that's because like it's so fucking cool. Like, they're just calling people, they're taking notes, and they're like, you know, using social engineering and shit to like make them to get the scoop. And I was like,
makes
fuck
me
yeah, like. No wonder, no
That's so
wonder, Superman chose this as his alias because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's the real superpowers, journalists.
Yeah, my I had set my my Letterboxd review for this was just, I never thought I'd be sexually attracted to a typewriter, but here we are.
Click, click, tap, tap, tap,
Yeah.
tap, tap, click.
Um So I only asked this. Did any of you guys watch? We all watched it on HBO. I know Travis and Moose did. Did any of you guys watch the TCM, the Howard Mankiewicz like TCM intro bit?
I was just about to say. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that like it kind of. I really like watching those because I used to watch movies on TCM a lot. More when the older dude was doing them. I don't remember. I wish I could remember his name. But it was the dude before Mankiewicz. I've seen some of Mankiewicz's stuff, but I really like TCM. I really like that they do that. They have like the little like here's a little backstory. Here's a little like history on the movie. I think it's really cool. But in this regard, it like almost like set me up for like for instance, like one of the things was that like they mentioned I guess what I'm getting at here is like what did you guys think of Jason Robards as Ben Bradley? Because that was one of 2 Oscars that this movie won. It won Best Supporting Actor for Jason Robards, and I guess I was like I liked his character, but I was like almost expecting a little bit more because of how it was like brought up then. Ben Bradley, he's like the editor-in-chief. I think he's you have like the 2 guys that we're talking about from 12 Angry Men, and then the older dude who's like he's always kind of like cool. He's like leaning back in his chair and like okay, all right, get more sources like that.
Yeah.
I like his character. But I think because of that setup it kind of like I was expecting more, and I was a little like I feel like it's unfair, but like I was almost a little disappointed in his character, even though I did like him. I did enjoy the character itself.
I guess I didn't realize that he won, and the only thing that I took from like the TCM intro was the fact that like they're talking about how this movie basically proved that like political movies aren't box office poison.
Yeah,
which I think up until that point like they kind of were, or at least maybe they were just like a little too dry and procedural to the point where like people weren't super interested. But I think the way that they did this movie was far more compelling than I guess probably a lot of other things at the time.
Which is interesting because that's another thing that I meant to mention was how like I don't know if the right word is dry, but how like we're talking about how it's just like information dump and like we're using words like realistic. Like I also think the characters and dialogue was really realistic. I personally really like it when characters talk over each other and you can't like necessarily hear everything because it feels natural. I really liked how it was written and everything. But it was way more, I guess I'll go with subtle than like I would have expected for like a movie that is considered such a classic and like the movie that made like political movies like a popular thing. Like this doesn't seem like a popular movie except that it has like 2 of the biggest stars. Sure, it has Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford, who were 2 of the biggest Hollywood stars at the time. Other than that, it almost seems like an indie movie in the way that it's presented.
Well, also, like we were talking about, this was fresh on the nation's mind too. So I feel like it's this story that's being told. And we're still recovering as a nation from the shock of finding out about the scandal, and it's these people in it, like it's something you want to see, and also they made a good film out of it. I think that also plays
it kind of gives you all of the beats of the story in like a very neat and easy to digest package. So it's like. You can kind of feel like you're getting caught up on the story because like again like this came out like 2 years, if not during like some of the events, like
45 years ago too. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Have y'all seen The Case for Christ?
No, but I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should throw that and like God is Dead into one of the cups.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Remind me about that later because there's one in particular that we have to watch.
Like one of those kinds of movies.
One of those kinds of movies.
Okay.
So Case for Christ, it's exactly like this film. Like they patterned it almost.
Dustin Hoffman, Robert Redford.
Yeah, it's like the same sort of procedural, like journalist trying to get down to the bottom of the story kind of thing.
Yeah.
Except
Okay, yeah.
except instead of like interviewing the people who were on the committee to reelect the president or whatever, he's like interviewing like preachers and like biblical scholars and shit, and then at the end he's convinced that Jesus is the Son of God, and then he goes to church and stuff, and and so it's so like having seen that first and having that like in my mind while I'm watching this, it was kind of a surreal feeling. Like
you realize how much this movie ripped off of The Case for Christ.
Yeah, that's exactly like. Yeah, it's kind of like y'all were talking about, like with the whole like Deep Throat thing with X-Files, and you can't shake like the connection in your brain. It's so rooted deeply. Like that's how all the procedural and investigative journalism was for me.
We'll throw that movie in the cup that's labeled like inspired by chain emails that your aunt sends you that are like stories about how a young Albert Einstein proved his college professor wrong, or like one of the atheist in the college class,
and that young man was Albert Einstein.
He
grew up to be
Oh, the book. This movie is based on a book, right?
Yes,
the book written by
and the book
Bernstein
came out like a month before Nixon resigned. So
I think
did it really?
Yeah.
1974 nonfiction book.
June 15th. So I guess it's like 2 months. But yeah.
Yeah. So even that, the insane
That's
turnaround
impressive.
to write a fucking book. And who knows? But that one, since that came out then, that also misses some of the stuff. Although to be fair, since it was written by these dudes, just because like some of this stuff happened a year after, they already knew this stuff too. So it's just that sometimes the legal process takes that long. But these guys were the ones who they were like one of the ones who like uncovered this stuff. So I guess it makes sense that they would be right on the forefront of like writing books about it or making movies about it, stuff like that.
Sure. I think it's interesting too, like that they highlighted that Woodward and
Bernstein.
I want to say Bernstein. Woodward and Bernstein were like nobodies in the journalism world.
Squidward and SpongeBob.
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Patrick Starr and his Glove World.
Oh, that
dungeon.
was painful. I had just taken a drink of this.
Did he catch you off guard?
Yeah, that hurt. That one hurt.
Oh my god. Anyway,
trying so hard not to snort Fireball out of my nose and fucking die.
Yeah, so like how they were like nobodies in the journalism world, but then they like got the story and they ran with it. And so like I guess in my brain I was thinking like who are the Woodward and Bernsteins of 2021, like
Bob Woodward,
BuzzFeed, and
because
Squidward.
He wrote like 2
BuzzFeed.
huge books about Trump.
BuzzFeed and
books.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did it accomplish?
I think
he's not president anymore. Did you think of
No.
that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you guys know who?
No, I get what you're saying. Like, it's almost like if the same thing happened with Donald Trump, like the same exact thing as Watergate scandal, like, would it make a difference? Like, sure, he's not president anymore, but
it'd be like another thing that he did, like, because the diddly do Bob Bradley was
I think you mean Mr. Krabs.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown.
Mr. Bob Crabsley.
Mr. Bob Krabs,
Diddley.
General Bradley, was like, do you realize what you're saying? You're accusing the second most powerful man in the country of, conspiracy or whatever, to be a criminal, and he's a crook, and do you realize what you're doing? And I'm like, people accuse the president of all kinds of shit all the fucking time, and like nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like it's different now.
Yeah, that was a thought, like not directly to like, well, no, I guess it was, but like, yeah, I can't believe I forgot to bring that up, but yeah, I had like the same kind of thought process that like, I kind of like, I thought when you were talking about like the police stuff too, like I feel like 10 years ago maybe this would have like impacted me a lot more when I was a little bit more of like, I don't want to say patriot, but like a little bit more of like, I didn't realize, less cynical. I didn't realize that we were like a war machine empire piece of shit country.
Yeah.
That like now I'm like, of course, well, like it's not attacking the police directly, but yeah, like I didn't care.
Okay.
Like I kind of was like double like thinking like, oh yeah, the police is a little and then of course the president is corrupt. Like Richard Nixon is not the only corrupt president we've had, people.
Yeah. Well, it's like go ahead.
I was just gonna say they talk about J. Edgar Hoover too a little bit, and like he's a fucking huge piece of shit. And they were just like, oh yeah, now we got J. Edgar Hoover. Oh well, yeah, okay. Like he's not a monster.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I keep going back to like Sorkin, but I think this movie it was like at a time when the general public, I think for the most part, still considered like our institutions as like sacred. And I think that's like a big thing with Sorkin, is like he loves the process and like the minutia and the small details of how like politics and journalism work. And I think if anything, like a sort of weirdly net positive thing to Trump is the fact that I feel like for a lot of people he has torn away that curtain, that veneer of like a well-functioning machine that might stumble and trip sometimes, but overall wants to do good and is like a sacred institution that we should take seriously. And it's like, I mean, it's a trope at this point, but like Trump said the quiet part out loud. That's why people in the Republican Party didn't like him, was because he was very brash and didn't care what he said or how he said it. And like those Republicans were just like, no, we need to like market this and put it in a more palatable way. We're still gonna believe all this evil shit, but we need to do it in a way that has like a more consumer friendly face. And I think that's kind of like that's what you're getting at, this whole idea of like, can you believe what you're gonna say this about the president? Is like, that was like it seems quaint now.
Yeah, dude.
Like a quaint period of time where like our institutions were sacred, and now it's like, well, you're talking about like who's the modern like Bob Woodward, or who do we have?
Yeah.
Do you know who Ken Klippenstein is?
Never heard of him.
I follow him on Twitter.
Sounds like a fake.
But he's a big Freedom of Information Act guy, where like he will go into the nitty gritty and like request information about stuff. Like he tweeted something about like this was like maybe a few weeks ago, but it was something about Amazon and like talking about like their workers like peeing in bottles because like they can't go on lunch breaks.
I heard about
and
that.
Ken Klippenstein was like, hey, my DMs are open. If you're an Amazon worker and you've ever done that, like hit me up. And like he's just one of those types of journalists who will expose a lot of things through the Freedom of Information Act. Like he's notorious for doing that. And like he's written pieces about like the workplace and like class politics and like that kind of stuff. So it's like he's not as big as Bob Woodward, but also I think our media cycles are different. Like Watergate back then, that was like a 3-year long, thing where like I feel like Watergate now would be 4 days.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be like a 4-day news cycle.
Yeah, there's this scene where they're like he's like, they get the name. I think his last name's Hunt or something like that. And he's
Yeah.
literally got stacks of phone books looking for this dude's name, and it's like that would take 5 minutes nowadays. Like,
Yeah,
you would have this
yeah.
guy's address in.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll I don't think I've started this off with ratings. Yeah, I did overall enjoy it quite a bit. A lot of the like technical aspects, especially, I liked. Thought the writing was really good, but it overall I would say like it didn't. There's a lot to like about it, but overall it didn't click with me quite as much as I was hoping. That said, and this is why I was really wanting to give it another view before we did this tonight. I feel like if I watch it again and I'm like, you know, more in tune with like, you know, getting okay, yes, I remember where this is going, like being able to follow all the like the rapid fire information more. I'll just say that this could go up. This might change. This might go up a number. But I'm gonna give this for now 7 seventh heavens out of 10.
Wow. After what we told you, you went with that, huh?
All right, but I thought of that joke before you guys said that thing about him being a pedophile, and I wasn't gonna.
Oh, okay.
It just
But he was a pedophile before you thought to say that
Yikes.
joke, so.
But not before.
Oh.
I didn't know that before I made the joke. Before I thought
Yeah,
of the
but
joke
it
in my
happened.
head. So 7
and-
heavens out
Would you
of
rather
10.
him saying it make the guy a pedophile? I think that would be worse.
Wait, if I
That's the
Retroactively.
alternative.
Oh, like if I didn't, maybe if I hadn't brought
like
it up
if-
until now.
Like Stranger Than
Yeah, if
Fiction.
you hadn't have said it, then all those kids would have been okay.
Stranger than
Okay.
fiction. So for me, I also enjoyed this quite a bit more than I thought I was. For some reason, I always forget. I forgot that it was like a Watergate movie. Like I think you even told me, and like I was like, "All the President's Men. What is this about?" And then I watched. I was like, "Oh shit, okay, it's about Watergate." I thought the sound design was super cool, like the typewriters and like the atmosphere, the way they sort of emulated what it would be like to be in like a newsroom at the time. Like I thought that was really cool. The acting is great. Like Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford are like fantastic in it. My my only complaint is that they got to the stuff that really interested me personally within like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I wanted more big picture stuff of like,
Wanted to feature the pedophile more.
yeah, I wanted Stephen Collins just to like take the reins and like become a because I think the story of Watergate and Nixon is really, really interesting, but I think like a lot of those details aren't true. Like kind of what I was alluding to at the very beginning regarding like the weird nitty gritty details, again, with like the Bush family and like the CIA and how like all of these agencies are connected and like how they kind of are like, you know, the rulers of this country and how they can kind of do whatever they want. And like Nixon was kind of like this fall guy figure that was like because like Nixon like wiretapped the like the whole White House. Like he had like every room bugged for sound. Like he was like a notoriously paranoid person.
Yeah,
and
that's
I think
how he
I guess
got busted too.
that yeah exactly. But I think I wanted to see more of that element, but I also realize a lot of those details might not have been readily available because this movie
Yeah.
literally happened like as pretty much right after it happened. So like I'll give it credit for that. I think I'm also gonna land on a 7 for it. I do think it's worth a rewatch, and I think like
For sure. Yes.
I understand why it is so highly regarded and why like it is a style that has become so emulated now when you watch other journalist or court procedural type things. Like again, this movie walked so a lot of other things could fly, and
For
it's like
sure.
you can't discount that from it. So yeah, I'm at about a 7 with that as well. I'm gonna take so many notes. I want to doodle and take notes and pretend to be a journalist.
Mine's gonna be real quick. I thought the first like 20 minutes was really interesting, and then the last 20 minutes was really interesting, and then there was like little spots throughout that I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I'm like 6.5, but I'll just say 7.
Okay.
West Wing's 8, and that's my review. And
I'm between a 7 and an 8 with the West Wing. We'll say that.
I'm also a 7. That's interesting. We all picked the same number. That hasn't happened before, has it?
I had a feeling
not,
actually.
yeah.
I think this is the first one where we've all,
Yeah.
at least where it's been all
Definitely
4 of us.
unanimously, yes.
Yeah, because like same thing. Like I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it the whole time. I did remarkably, I didn't feel the urge to quit halfway through, like I do with most movies, because I don't have the long enough attention span. But yeah, like it's the same thing with Barking Dogs. It's like if somebody brings up the movie, like, hey, we could watch this tonight, I'd be like, oh yeah, I like that movie a lot. Let's watch it. But I'm not like dying to watch it again. I mean,
Sure.
I like the same reason why TJ wanted a second watch, just to kind of like put the pieces together once you know, and like have like a sort of map of what's going on in your head and fill it in. But like as a movie that I enjoy, like yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. It was worth the time that I put into it.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite, so 7.
Yeah.
I did feel like I wish like it was a touch shorter, because part of the reason I didn't, I was like,
Yes.
and it's only 20 minutes, but also it's 20 minutes. I was like, man, if it was like it's almost, you look at that number and you're like, it's almost 2.5 hours. Where it's like, if it was just 2 hours, it'd been much easier to get myself to watch it again, I think.
Yeah. I really don't think I'll ever watch it again. I'd rather watch
I might.
a documentary about it instead.
Sure.
Like
I probably
Yeah,
won't
you get
now.
more information for sure.
I probably
Yeah,
won't
exactly.
now that we've already done the
Yeah.
the podcast. I'm definitely not as motivated to watch it again.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we've done one of these where like I kind of got less excited about the movie after we talked about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess because I was coming down off the high because I just finished it, and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
journalism is cool. I'm going to daydream about being a journalist.
And then we just
And now I'm like, okay, yeah,
not like
it's-
nitpicked it, but like, we kind of broke it down and kind of not tore it apart. But
yeah, now that you say that, I kind of want to bump my rating down to a 6. But I'm really digging the like unity that we got right now. So I'm gonna
synergy.
Peer
But
pressure.
I kind of
Keep it
agree
at 7.
with you. Yeah, I agree with you though. I think it does kind of, it did take the wind out of my sails a little
Beep,
bit.
beep, 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 beep. Ooh, Everything is Illuminated, directed by Liev Schreiber. From
It felt like you were
2008
opening a
fame.
fortune cookie.
2005?
Everything is illuminated.
From Spotlight.
Oh, that's the Jonathan Safran Foer novel.
That sounds right.
Safran Foer.
That's something
Elijah
like
Wood
that.
is in it.
Elijah Wood, yes. So,
Okay.
next week, if you don't want to be spoiled for Everything is Illuminated, directed by Liev Schreiber, watch it. It's on something, because I made sure that these are on something. I just forgot what. It might be one you got to rent, but it's on something.
Yeah.
So yeah, watch that, or whether or not you watch it, feel free to join the conversation. I'd like to get more, viewer input. I mean, I guess better if you did watch it, but I do want to incorporate viewer input, viewer comments
questions
into the
or
movies, or questions, yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, for this week, I've been J Spot Jack Cheese, aka TJ. Vote for TJ.
Vote for TJ. I'm Dr. Funk, aka Nick.
I'm Woodward and SpongeBob and aka Travis.
I've been Moose from the Game and Tommy, and I hope to continue to be those things in the future.
And that's the ball game.
And that's Amore. Okay, I'm done.
Bye.
Stopping the recording now.